I see heaps of people lately posting questions on Facebook forums about diesel heaters. Specifically these Chinese ones you can get for a couple $100. I bought one. I think I paid 270. It's a 2 kilowatt 12 volt diesel heater, and I've installed it in my hard forward fold camper trailer. Just thought I'd give you a bit of a look. It's just starting to get cold again now in Perth, so I've dragged the trailer out. First time this year that I've tried the diesel heater, just to make sure it was all working before our next trip. I've got it running on high at the moment, flat out, just to make sure it all works perfectly. Outside right now it's about 20 degrees. Had it going for about 10 minutes, and inside the campers with the door open, mind you, is reading about 34 degrees. This thing is cranking already. I bought the one with the manual or the analog dial gauge. It just looked a bit simpler than the digital one. The digital one has a few different settings you can change and whatnot. Like I think you can have it thermostatically controlled. My one, I don't know if you can or not. I just control the heat using the fan speed, which I find works well anyway. I've got it running on high at the moment, which is what you'd have it for the first hour or so, just to get the camper down to temperature, and then I'd turn it down to low when it's a lot quieter. But yeah, this is still a hell of a lot quieter than using a generator or something to run an electric heater, and it doesn't use a hell of a lot of diesel, so it's pretty good. It's pretty efficient. Mine, it didn't actually come with that digital gauge you can see there. That's something that I fitted. It's just a cheap eBay 12 volt gauge, very simple to fit, and it gives me an idea of what the temperature is in here, which helps us with choosing what to put, what pajamas to put on the little one before bed, because we don't want it too hot or too cold. Here you can see the outlet where the hot air is coming out. It's a closed circuit system, so for the combustion sides of things, the exhaust and the air intake are out of the camper trailer, so there's a hell of a lot less risk of getting carbon monoxide inside the camper trailer like you'd get from some of these butane heaters that you see people buying. A lot of people seem pretty concerned about the noise of these things. Like I said, this is running on high. I'll turn it down in a sec so you can hear it on low. So you've got some noise from outside the unit, which is the actual motor running, and then you've got some noise inside, which is the fan running. So from inside, even with just canvas walls, it doesn't bother us at all. It's no louder than like an electric fan heater. Nowhere near as loud as a gen set or anything like that. And then you get a slight ticking noise from the fuel pump as well. So I'll show you where I've got it housed. So you can see the unit itself there. You can see the diesel tank mounted to the side. You can mount that wherever you wanted. There's the air intake there with an air filter. Again, you can mount that where you like. You can cut the tube down to suit. Same as the fuel line, you can vary the length of that so you can have it wherever you'd like. And then there's a little inline fuel filter here. Very easy to install yourself. Only uses a little bit of power on startup to get the injectors glowing to ignite. And then once it's running, it uses very little power, just enough power to run the fan and the LED lights on the display. So that gives you an idea of how loud it is on high. Like I said, this is a 2 kilowatt unit and it's a small living space, so this thing absolutely cranks in here. I'd only put it on high for maybe the first half hour or hour if it's really cold, and then it gets turned down to low. So I'll put it on low now and you can hear the sound difference. So it takes a little while to kick down. You can hear the fan speed starting to drop off now. It's roasting in here already. 35 degrees. It's cranking. So yeah, it's the first time I've turned it on this winter, and that started instantly. To start it, you just press on. To turn it off, you just press off. It's that simple. It really is. There's no reason why you couldn't make this portable or fit this in a soft floor or a caravan or a van or anything you want. As long as you're not afraid to drill holes and stuff. Right, I'll show you from outside now. Let's turn right down. So there you go, that's on low now, so just sounds like a fan, doesn't really sound like an engine running or anything like that. You could be camped in pretty close proximity to people and no one's going to be bothered by it. It's nothing like a Jenny. One thing I will say, a mistake I made the first time I used it, I forgot to crack the lid on this, and as it was sucking the fuel out through 12 hours through the night, it sucked all the sides of this inwards. It created a bit of a vacuum, so just make sure you crack the lid when you're using it and do it back up when you leave. You might be able to hear that ticking of the pump now. I've turned the unit right down. Where's the pump? And as you can see, you can't actually see any fumes coming out, and you can't smell them either. I can't smell any diesel burning or anything. The one thing I have heard is that if you run these things on low all the time, they can build up some sort of carbon inside, and eventually they require disassembling and cleaning. But what people are doing, and what I've been told, is that if you can run them on low all night, but before you pack the thing away, the camper away, you just turn it right up to high again, and that burns out all that carbon build up before you switch the thing off. So I just make sure when I start it up, I run it on high for a few minutes, and when I'm finished with it, I'll run it on high for a few minutes. And I haven't had any dramas yet. I used it all last winter, and I'll be using it all this winter. So if I do have any dramas, I'll let you know. So yeah, once it's on low, you can barely hear the thing. And you can see it was 35 degrees in here before when I had it on high, and it's dropped down to 28 now. Obviously, if I had all the windows done up and the doorway done up, it would have held the temperature longer. But yeah, Chinese diesel heaters. Look, there is a group on Facebook as well. I think it's called, I'll put a link in the bottom. I think it's called Chinese Diesel Heaters Troubleshooting or something like that. That's a valuable resource for any information on these things. But yeah, if you're handy with the tools and that, give it a crack yourself. If you've got any questions or anything about it, just drop a comment below the video and see if I can help you out with an explanation or another video. Cheers.